I hope everyone's doing well and welcome back to another Outlook. So cool. Bit of a late upload today, apologies. So I'm gonna try not to be too long. We'll be a bit more concise today and get straight to the point. Let's start with the economic calendar first of all. We have red folders coming up for the dollar on the Monday. We have Italian bank holiday as well, something to watch out for the euro. Nothing crazy, and power speaking, which will be important, right? Again, last time I told you guys this, every time it says power speak, sometimes orange, sometimes red. If you click on this little folder here, it will give you a bit more of insight into what he may be talking about, and if it is as significant. From there, not much on the Tuesday for us, but we have jolts at the end of the day. ADP will be the big mover on the Wednesday. Thursday, we have unemployment claims and the interest rate decision for the euro, which is what to watch for sure. Or I should mention the Canadian one on the Wednesday as well. That's also one to watch for. Can be. And of course, the big mover of the week, or expected big mover, hasn't been for the last few times, is NFP on the Friday. So let's get on the charts. Now, first thing, right, just off the bat, it's really easy. It is that the monthly candle has just closed and we have new month open. And if we're going off that previous month, there's, I wouldn't say it's the nicest close of the world, but if I had to bet on a direction, it would definitely be bearish. I think previous monthly low or stiff sell side are well within reach. Now, when we come to the weekly, I feel like that's only cemented as an idea. You've got this big wick that's made its way all the way up here, traveled back down. The likelihood is that price from here travels lower, right? Trade lower rather than higher. And if we zoom out one more time on the daily, what we see is just a sort of like intra-range OTE, if that's the right term. This high to this low. Price has this big manipulation move, sweeps all these candles inside and works its way back down. And in my eyes, that market mixer model is just sort of back in play, especially, if we start breaking through this leg of price and now you're creating the second leg and so forth. There, it's only logical that we're going to head back towards this low, right? In regards to positions, we're not in any positions at the moment on the dollar. We had an initial position, which technically did not hit break even on the dollar. Break even on the dollar was around here, but euro being the weaker pair, and us being in a EU long, actually managed to hit the stop loss. Coming on here. When I said stop loss for EU, that was actually a break-even close out. So it's a bit annoying. We were in that trade for a little while, but just managed to get hit back at break-even. It is a little bit annoying, but never the end of the world, right? If we similarly look at monthly quickly on the bond yields, got a previous monthly sweep, trade back into the range, nothing crazy level, nothing clear by any means. Same on the weekly, as we just had a look. You have this, somewhat of a range this low to this high. I would anticipate that price trades a little bit lower into here, at least into this fair value gap, which we're, practically out already. And from there, we'd like to see, what can it do? They want to, sort of trade back higher, sweep the highs. Does it want to carry on lower, sweep the sort of internal range lows over here, right? So again, as it has been for the last few weeks, I would say just 50-50 in terms of direction. It's not having as much of an impact on the DXY either. EURUSD, bit of a turnaround, order block. With this previous weekly sweep and price, pushing lower, I anticipate that, the following week will then come and trade even lower. And it did initially, right? But from there, it sort of reacted to this rejection block and moved higher, which is interesting. So for the time being, I would say the likelihood is that price will hunt this high. And why is that? It's because we've got quite a strong move down. You've got these relatively equal highs. I think there's a good likelihood price can, push into these, retrace here. Even if it wants to be bearish, I think we can retrace a little bit higher before we get that, sort of bearish switch. And in the chance that, we are bullish, then of course we expect to run for weeklies anyway. So it's a good short-term target to work towards for now. I'm gonna go straight to S&P, just a bit quicker to cover, and then we can talk about Bitcoin. Not any other pairs I'm looking at just at the moment, not on my radar. Get to why. So cool. Very nice monthly close through that fair value gap. For me, it's obvious. We have to be bullish. These type of closes, they don't come around all the time. That monthly close there, it's just very obvious, right? I would say I would bet from there that we had higher. We've had this IOVED on the weekly. It's not best, but essentially from this order block, we would have expected expansion away. Now, the following week didn't do as much, and new month has opened, so it wouldn't surprise me if we get a potential previous weekly low sweep, something along those lines. But past that, we'd like to see price high. Mark it out. This to me is just a very large market maker buy model. You guys know we've been pushing this for ages. I do think price will make its way all the way back up to that initial consolidation. And last but not least, I didn't cover this last time in the last weekly outlooks. I have to make sure I give it the right spot this time. Cool. If we go off that monthly angle, this is essentially an OTE price that retraced, come to that discount, push through, and is now making the sort of new leg price action, right? By that logic, I would anticipate that we have further room to continue, moving higher. I don't think the top is in, I know we made a new all-time very recently. Do you think Bitcoin has the ability to travel higher? Now, what it is we've broken the all-time high, and we haven't really retraced from there, and we have a new monthly candle open. If I had to sort of bet on a time to retrace, I would say it's now, right? I would be watching this weekly fair value gap. Right there. See what price can do when it comes and sweeps these sort of internal lows, what it wants to do from here. If we can get, a sweep here and a bit of a kick up, then the likelihood is back to all-time high and past, right? Again, I'd be looking at those big whole numbers, the 115, the 120, the 125, etc. as we start to approach them. But that is pretty much it. Now, the big reason I'm not really covering any other pairs, right? I'm not taking a look at, if I was to take a look at a pair, I would consider the USDCAD with the CAD interest rate decision coming up. But, with a new monthly kind of opening and there not really been any, crazy good ranges that I was short from here. If this range kicks down, then this is a new OTE, then yeah, something great. We can potentially talk about this target down here. But for the time being, if I'm being honest, there's nothing. You want to let things pass, because imagine in the off chance, that the interest rate decision comes out and fundamentally it's something different to what we expect. Price, kicks up, moves down, whatever it is, just goes against what we want. Then maybe you would have a chance to either position better or think twice about, am I sure I want to go in that direction? Right? Very similar to the other pair. So this USDJPY. Very just, nothing super clear for me to want to entertain just for the time being. This weekly close is nice, right? But when we come on to daily, it's, a bit, what's the word for it? Conflicting. We respected this already here. We also respected the range. Where does price want to go from here? I'd rather let price make its way down slightly, at least give us confirmation, then reconsider, okay, yeah, we want to take the short, we want to do this, or we want to reposition, whichever way it is. The last one we can quickly touch on. Just gold. That weekly is horrible. Monthly as well, just very untelling candle, right? Just bang on in the middle in terms of bodily close. Wick both ways with no sweep at all. It just leaves us up to one, it shows a level of accumulation just naturally when there's an inside candle, right? There's been no big price delivery in that candle. And then you hop on the weekly, you see straight away, yeah, this is definitely a consolidation. However, I'm down to the daily, becomes even more obvious that this is a consolidation. But what I do like is that, you know, you had this sort of boxed off area, prices manipulated, come to discount range, kicked up. So from here, I don't think this is the worst shot for a long in the world. You can get something like this. And that first sort of this manipulation low also did not come into the discount. So it wouldn't surprise me if the month was to open by sweeping the previous monthly low, if you get reversed from there. The only thing that I'd be watching, if somebody is entertaining that, perhaps you'd want to let it kick up a bit first, then consider entering. Because imagine, right, again, look at this weekly, price kicks here, takes this, but doesn't really give you any displacement. It may just stay there. It may just kick into this discount and just sit there for a bit. It might, you know, if it's really going to be sideways and it doesn't want to deliver, you may get nothing. And that's where I'm at with everything at the moment. Just no positions, hands off, lots of news folders. Once some of these start passing and, you know, things start taking place, I'm sure things will get clear. I'm sure, you know, opportunities will be offered to us and we'll look to realign. Yeah, guys, that is it for the weekly outlook. As usual, any questions, anything I can help with, please just drop me a message.